And right over now to Michael Commins, and of course followed by...
We're going out the same way we came in.
With Big Tom. Meet the voice of the West, and I mean communication par excellence, because nonetheless the person we have right beside us here is the one and only Michael Commins. Michael, welcome to Mallow.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, Michael, of course, when
home of Sam Maguire this year.
Oh, absolutely. And hopefully for a few more years.
Even if you did beat Mayo in the league final earlier in the year, we'll still forgive you. Yeah.
And Michael, of course, when I say voice of the West, my goodness, of course, you're so well known in the west of Ireland and right throughout Ireland and throughout the world now because of the internet. But explain your overall involvement in communication yourself, please, Michael.
Well, I suppose since local radio came on the air in 1989, I've been involved with a radio station up in Mayo, Midwest Radio. I've been with them since 1989, 2 years as a pirate even before that, on the pirate days. A lot of the fellas had their origins in the Pirates, I suppose, back then, and I've been with them for all those years, do 2 country shows every week, and main job then, of course, being the local regional newspapers, currently with the Mayo News, and I've worked with the Connacht Telegraph, the Western People as well, and just started a new column now in the Irish showbiz scene in the Farmers Journal, which is available all over the country, of course, and it's called Irish Country Scene. That's gone out every Thursday in the Journal, and we're looking at all the Irish country music scene and the showbiz scene in general.
Yes, and of course the amount of interest in the whole world of country and western is quite astounding.
Well, I think it is, and you know, I think actually maybe 10 years back that it did go through a lull period, or even a little bit further back maybe, but there seems to have been a whole reawakening, and there are a number of causes for that, I think. A good few younger people have come on the scene as well. Excuse me. Yes. There's also TG Carr have done a good job for us. They're doing a very good, in fairness to them. They have Ceoltíre has given an outlet and a platform to many people. And I think, strange enough, I think one of the things that helped rejuvenate interest in country music was the film I Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash film. And I don't think that can be underestimated the impact that has had, because an awful lot of young people were brought back to country music through that film. I know that for a fact. I know from my own youngsters. Country music became cool, to use their word.
Lovely.
It became cool again, and Johnny Cash became just as cool as any of the big rock acts in the world, or pop acts, and that all helped to bring people into country music and to give a reawakening of interest in it. And you know, there'll always be country songs, and there'll always be Irish ballads and all of that, and even if it doesn't get the amount of exposure it should on national radio and national television, but the interest is there in it. It's there in the heartlands, and it always will be.
Tremendous. Yeah. And Michael, here tonight now, we've got certainly, it's been like an evening of stars, hasn't it?
Ah, yeah, there's a grand collection of people out there tonight, and you know, I'm very friendly. I got to know Eddie there in the last few years. First met him, actually, got to know him out at this Fla Bita. It's where maybe 1,200-1,400 people go out every April to it, and it's remarkable out there. Yeah, and it's kind of country and Irish and set dancing and Cayley dancing and all that.
People that go on holidays to Spain, to
Ibiza. To the island of Ibiza. I know Ibiza is known for another name as well, for other social scenes for young people. But
this is entirely country and western music.
Totally, yeah. But it's fabulous. I love the island. I've been out now for the last 5 years, and I absolutely love it out there. There's something very peaceful about it at that time of the year, before the hordes come in later on the summer.
As MC to the different performances that occur there, you're the MC.
Well, I have occasionally, once or twice I have actually, but not really that much. But I have helped out on a few occasions. But that's one of the areas I just love that particular.
And of course there's one particular wonderful singer in our area, Anne-Marie O'Riordan, who speaks so very highly of yourself, Michael. And because apparently Anne-Marie has had quite an amazing impact in the west of Ireland, especially.
Absolutely, no question or doubt about Anne-Marie. Started playing Anne-Marie there about 2 years back, and the story I tell you is true. That song really became her give our theme song Up Our Way. One of the most requested songs of the year up there last year.
And written by a person not too far away from where Anne-Marie comes from in Radley.
Reedy, I believe, yeah, whom I didn't know now, but absolutely. And that song has been covered by many, many people, including PJ Murray, who's here tonight, and several, T.R. Dallas and several others have covered the song. But, she's a lovely girl. She's only, 20, 21. She's having a launch herself, and we're wishing her the very best with that, with her new album. But she was up at a weekend I had up there in Salt Hill, in the Salt Hill Hotel there in Galway recently, and she went down a treat. It was her first time performing in Galway town or Galway city itself, and her version of the Chapel Gates of Cora Clare, a showstopper. She's a fabulous voice. I think there's something about Anne-Marie. I don't know what it is. She went to America last year. She was out on the St. Patrick's weekend. She was in New York and Philadelphia. She did one day with the Irish Consulate, I think, out there as well. But I think there's something about almost the Kane family of Galway, the Carlos Strands, that Dolores Kane feel. She has that. She has almost the soul of Ireland, and it's very unusual for a young girl of that age to have that powerful voice that communicates with all generations, Sean. And she has that power to really cross generational gaps. And I think that if she gets the right break, she has to be one of the huge names in Irish music in the coming years.
How very encouraging to Anne-Marie there, and beautifully described there by Michael, the soul of Ireland. That is exactly, I think, what many people would echo, very much so.
Yeah, well, thanks, Sean, and that's my belief, and she has that power, the power of the... I remember, and again going back to country music for a moment, I remember reading the sleeve notes. The times they used to have the vinyl albums when you could write real good sleeve notes, The CDs became much smaller and all of that. But I remember on a Waylon Jennings a vinyl album, one of his albums, that the sleeve notes were written by Neil Diamond, actually. And Diamond wrote a beautiful sleeve note on that, and he spoke about the power of the human voice. The power of the human voice, and Diamond had it as well in his field of music. Waylon Jennings had it, but Anne-Marie O'Riordan has it in traditional Irish music. There was no question doubt about it. She's a beautiful ballad singer. Yeah.
And Michael, that's so encouraging, and this is certainly the ethos that Michael brings through here very much. You are so encouraging to particularly young stars that are going to be stars, and young people that you're encouraged in a very special way in the whole world of music, that you can see where a talent lies.
Well, sure, as I say up our side, sure, you do your best to give everybody a chance, and if you have a belief in them, sometimes singers and musicians, and singers especially, they get through to you in a certain way, and she is one young girl that's just has it, in my opinion. Another young girl up our way she was in Ibiza last year, and I thought she was absolutely brilliant, was Lisa Stanley. Now, she is daughter of the late Maisie McDaniels, who was a great country singer back in former times. You remember her, Sean?
We often refer to Maisie McDaniel. Really? Yeah. Oh, wonderful voice altogether.
Yeah, well, Lisa is
her daughter.
Yeah, Lisa. Now, Maisie died 2 years ago, sadly, and Lisa was married to Fintan Stanley, the great accordion player. Right. So Lisa has taken the name Stanley. So she was the only one of their family, and Fenton is living out in Massachusetts for many, many years. Great player, fabulous, very respected as a tremendous accordion player. But Maisie was into country music. Lisa's in country as well. And she is so, so good. She got a standing ovation when she did a solo concert out there.
And when you hear Lisa's voice, is there an echo?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
An echo of Maisie.
She's a ringer for her. Yeah, she brought out, she's actually doing a musical show called Lisa Stanley Sings the Songs of Maisie McDaniels, and she did it in Sligo in her hometown, and before St. Patrick's Day earlier in the year.
Michael, you must remind our viewers, how do we tune in to your amazing programme there on Midwest?
Well, no, Sean, I don't know about amazing, but anyway, I suppose down your side of the country here to be just on the internet, really.
Now it's as clear. It's as clear.
Yeah, it's just Midwest. Oh, I'm trying to think of it now. MidwestRadio.ie, I think it is. It's fairly simple. MidwestRadio.ie. I do actually Wednesdays and Sunday nights. I do Wednesday nights from 11 o'clock till 2, but I often go on till half 2, and they're all night night shows, and Sunday night we start after the 10 o'clock news and finish around 1:30.
My goodness, so people in the West are so blessed. You mean they have wonderful country music and traditional music in that time?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and that doesn't happen in a lot of stations actually. It doesn't, no, and I suppose we have. I'm lucky that we're based out of Ballyhaunis, and I would have to say, while most of the other counties in the West are good as well, but I blessed to have a very, very strong, loyal County Galway listenership, and the Galway people are great as well. I have to say that as a Mayo man, that's like Kerry saluting, that's like a Cork man saluting Kerry now or whatever, But in fairness, I have to say that the Galways are a grand old crowd, as we say up our side of the country.
Well, I think now there'll be a strong Cork listenership after this, and Kerry listenership, considering, because my goodness, the range of music that Michael plays, and the people that he has met and the people that he's encouraged to star them is astounding. Michael, it's been a great pleasure being with you here tonight, and thanks a million for sharing those special thoughts. And finally, as you look ahead, the future of country music in Ireland.
Well, I think it's on a solid footing, and I always say, if you have the younger crowd coming through, the ones that keep it going in the middle, and you have to show respect for the older people in country music, and that's why I come from that generation that when I was growing up in Mayo, that the ones we looked up to in country music were people like Big Tom McBride, who to this day is one of my great idols. I love Tom. There's something special about Big Tom McBride, and there always has been. He's, as they would say in America, to say about Johnny Cash, the Mount Rushmore of American country music. Well, Tom has been that in Ireland, and he's loved across the board. People like Brian Call, who have absolutely the love of country music. They've cultivated, they've put down the roots. Never ever forget the people who put down the roots. You had people like Gene Stewart, John Glenn, the late Johnny Lockery, one of the all-time greats, fabulous singer, and maybe
whose son
Mayo.Sean is on the scene now. Yes. And even if you go back a little bit further, I would even, he was before my time, but I did hear music he recorded, the late Shea Hutchinson from Newton Stewart in County Tyrone. Some of the Tyrone singers were brilliant. Some of the Northerners were absolutely the home of country music.
What a wealth of information, my goodness, and what a memory to have all those, and remembering all those people in a special way. A very real tribute to those people.
Well, you have to remember those people. They were the people who put down the roots. And I think if you have the respect for those people, a lot of the rest follows. And if you ever cut off the roots, the whole thing dies. So you have to have that respect. And country music, it's like one great big family. There's a bond between the people who follow this music. But I also think a great bond is also there on the folk scene. I think sometimes we tend to forget that there's a great crossover between country and folk music, and that's very true in the Americas, in the American South, where you have the country and folk there in the Appalachian regions and down across there, where all the people from the Ulster area immigrated down through the years. There's a lovely history there, Sean, and a great subject for a programme some other time.
Wow. All we can say is that you are the light of the world.
Oh my God.
And we'll put the light into his pocket there. There it is. Michael, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Sean, lovely to chat to you down here.
We have to give this man the guided tour of Millstreet and find out more about that very special west of Ireland. Because someday one of the things we're hoping to do is go up to Cong in County Mayo to find out where the White Man was made. Because I'm sure we'd find out a lot up there.
Well, I'll bring you on a conducted tour there, because that's in my home country. Actually, it's right on the border. Again, the two counties, because Ashford Castle just straddles the bridge there, and of course that's where in 1950-51 John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara came to film the famous one. I love that. It's one of my favourite films. I love the Quiet Man film, and there's something very, very special about that. John Ford was a wonderful director, and of course John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara were brilliant actors as well. So it did enormous good for Cong and that area.
Believe it or not, that was made the year I was born,
1951.
So that is nearly 60 years old.
But not alone that, Sean. That was the last year Mayo won the All-Ireland Sam Maguire Cup. Senior final, 1951, before I was born.
Lovely way to finish. Michael Commins. My goodness, what a man. And what a wonderful way to finish the night here in the Hazel Tree in Mallow.